Hi everyone, let's talk books. And today I have part 2 of my pretty big July haul. Now once again, I want to state that I did not buy all of these books in July, but I do have to be honest that I've been stressed buying books quite a bit because I haven't figured out the best way to manage all my stress when it reaches the point at which it reached in the month of July. So please forgive me that I am not going dead broke buying all these books, so I can justify it, but I do have to admit that I am stressed buying them and that I need to get that under control. In the meantime though, I now have a few new books to talk to you about, so let's get started. First thing I want to share with you that I bought are these like character post-its, not post-its, little tabs, right? Like what are they called? Yeah, just tabs. So this one is Emma, Jane Austen's Emma, and aren't they super cute? So they have Emma, George, Harriet, and Frank in the little post-its. And they're just super cute. I have the Pride and Prejudice one already, and so when I saw this Emma one, I had to pick it up, even though it was $5.95. Anywho, next, I am hearing a lot on BookTube about an author I didn't know about, and that's V.E. Schwab. And the worlds that she's creating sound really interesting. They sound really fun. So I decided to pick up a couple of books. I know these are both series, so I have a huge problem with picking up first books in series. But these sound good, and I have high hopes for them. So the first one I picked up is A Darker Shade of Magic, which I've heard really good things about. I know close to nothing about the story other than it's a fantasy. Let's see. Welcome to Grey London, dirty and boring without any magic, with one mad king, George III. Then there is Red London, where life and magic are revered, in White London, a city slowly being drained through magical war, down to its very bones. And once upon a time there was Black London, but no one speaks of that now. I don't want to read too much of the back because I like going into these kinds of books without knowing anything or knowing very little. In fact, I like going into all books knowing very little about them. It sounds really interesting. I know a lot of people love V. Schwab, and I want to see what all the buzz is about. Yes, I also picked up a second one. This is Vicious. So why did I pick up 2 books from 2 separate series of hers? I don't know. I'm just interested to see, and obviously I can't read them all at the same time, so I'm going to see which one I like most. But this one says it's about Victor and Ellie started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognize the same sharpness and ambition in each other. In their senior year, a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. I think the other one sounds a little bit more interesting, but this one sounds interesting as well. This one sounds a little bit like Flatliners. So we'll see how I like it, because my mom loved that movie, but I didn't like it that much. So anyways, next up, I had a bunch of coupons for Barnes & Noble, and I do have a membership with them. And so this one ended up being cheaper to buy from Barnes & Noble with all the coupons I had than like buying it somewhere else. So I went ahead and picked it up, The Poppy War by RF Kuang. And Books with Emily Fox here on YouTube was one who pushed me over the edge to pick it up. A bunch of people were reading it as part of Tome Topple, and that's what first put it on my radar. But Emily Fox really loved this book, so I had to see what I have to read it for myself and see what it's all about. So it's about a war. Right, but she says there's no romance in this, and it's just about a girl kind of rising through the ranks of a military, that's all I really want to know about this book. So hopefully it's as good as everyone is saying, and I am really looking forward to reading that one as well. Some things. Next up, I picked up Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. So the second book in this series, Bruja Born, was just released. Oh God, this is another series. So I picked this one up so that I could see if this is a story I want to get into. So it's about a girl in Brooklyn, I believe. Isn't it in Brooklyn? Yeah. And she is the most powerful witch in a generation, and she hates magic. At her death day celebration, Alex performs a spell to rid herself of her power, but it backfires. Her whole family vanishes into thin air, leaving her alone with Nova, a brujo she can't trust, but who may be Alex's only chance at saving her family. It sounds super cool. This is an Own Voices book, and I am excited to read more books with witches in them, because A Discovery of Witches really got me into the whole witch theme again. So, okay, the next 6 books are all used books from my local used bookstore. The reason I am specifying that is that I totally hit the jackpot at this store the other day. I went in and I was like, all right, my strategy at used bookstores is to open up my Goodreads app and check on some of the titles that are already on my to-read list and see if I can find them for cheap and in a decent quality. So I looked up Gail Carriger because I just read Soulless recently. Really, really love the story. Want to continue with the series. And guess what? They had all the other books in the series. So they had every single book except the very first one. So eventually I do plan on getting the first one because I liked it so much. But in the meantime, I have Changeless, Blameless, Heartless, and Timeless. So I'm going to finish this series now. But if you don't know, this is a series, it's a fantasy series in which the main character is Alexia. She is a kind of aristocrat in London, and she also doesn't have a soul. She is soulless. And at the end of book 1, or throughout book 1, she has this kind of relationship with the head of like the supernatural like police in London, who is a werewolf and is he a duke? He's an aristocrat, Macon. And so the story doesn't entirely focus, at least book 1 didn't entirely focus on like that romance, but it was kind of a threat throughout that book, which I really, really liked. The mysteries in the first book was really, really well written. The fantasy world is super intriguing. So this is a world in which vampires exist, werewolves exist, and then these soulless creatures are much more rare, but they also exist, and they're integrated into British society and government. Like everybody knows about them. And the Queen has a vampire advisor. She has a werewolf advisor. There's this police force that seeks to control the supernatural world. Series I really like, and I'm really looking forward to continuing it. And in the last month, I also read, what is it called? Robopocalypse, and it's a duology. So it's the first book in a duology, and so that book really grabbed me. It grabbed me. The story, I didn't think I was going to like it too much, but I ended up really getting into it and having dreams about the world of it. So I knew I wanted to read the second book in the duology, and I was just going to get it from my library, but the bookstore had it. And I couldn't help it for, a fraction of the price to pick it up and have it on my bookshelf, especially since I like the first one so much. So hopefully the second one is just as good. The second one's called Robogenesis. It's by Daniel H. Wilson, and it's a post-apocalyptic world in which robots have taken over, and there's a war between robots and humans. And in the second book, I don't know what all is about the second book, because the first book kind of left it where like possibility of the war between robots and humans hasn't completely ended. So this will tell us what happened afterwards. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. So lastly, this is the very last book I picked up, and I also picked it up at the used bookstore, but I got Matt Haig's How to Stop Time. In June, I read The Humans. Was it in June? I think it was in June. It was a really cute, quirky little book. Really enjoyed it, and it made me want to read more Matt Haig. So when I saw this, I wasn't even looking for Haig at the bookstore, but this one kind of popped out of the shelf, and clearly it was a sign that I needed to come home with me. I think it's time to come home with me. So now it is home with me. I don't know much about this particular book. Let's see. Tom Hazard has a dangerous secret. He may look like an ordinary 41-year-old, but only owing to a rare condition, he's been alive for centuries. Tom has lived history, performing with Shakespeare, exploring the high seas with Captain Hook, and sharing cocktails with Fitzgerald. Now he just wants an ordinary life. I don't want to read up more because I love these stories. Since I'm a historian, I love books that kind of integrate history into it, and I love these kind of stories of people that have lived through a lot of history. So I have high hopes for this one. Okay, I'm inserting this clip because I forgot that I bought a few ebooks, and I wanted to share those with you. Amazon during Prime Day had a few kind of ebook sales, and I got a few. Not a few, I got two. I got two books, both romance novels. The first one is Take the Lead by Alexis Daria. I have been wanting to read this book for a while, and it's $1.99 on Kindle as of filming. So I'll link it down below if anybody is interested. But it's a kind of Dancing with the Stars type setting, in which, you know, like a celebrity is dancing with a professional, and so it follows one of these couples, and clearly they're going to fall in love. The next book I picked up was The Sublime and Spirited Voyage of Original Sin by Colette Moody. This book I picked up because it had been recommended by somebody on Twitter. I don't remember exactly who, but it's a female-female romance in which they are pirates, pirating in the high seas. And I thought that was super cool. Story, and I don't read enough female romance, and I thought this would be a good way to get into it. This was also normally it costs like an arm and a leg, but it was on sale. Not extremely on sale, but there was a little bit of a discount on it, so I went ahead and picked it up. Anyway, so that is it. Those are all the books that I picked up in the last couple of months. So thank you so much for sticking this out with me and putting up with my not knowing and not wanting to know much about these books. But if you have read any of these, please let me know what you thought of them down below. Let me know if you think I should move something up in my TBR, because I like to take everyone's recommendations into account when I pick up my next book, although I am kind of a mood reader. So we'll see. I probably need to stop buying books because from now until the end of the year, I'm going to have less time to read than I've had in the last couple of months. But these are all really exciting books. Like, very exciting. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!